Here's how many shots it takes the normal multi-tool. We want to make sure, now remember, this is a normal multi-tool, so it has other options. Some of them we've actually talked about, but let's actually look at them now. This is the option that allows you to retrieve blocks whole. We talked about that in the last episode. So if I want to, for example, let's see. Yeah, let's say I want to move the armor lockers out of the way of the doorway, because, you know, the doorway's right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm on retrieve blocks and see that it says in the description returns intact blocks for own structures, for the structures that you own. And then I'm just going to pick up the armor locker. Now, it looked like I wrecked it because that's just the animation, but in fact, we did pick that up, and it's inside of here, safe and sound, because remember, we're connected to this wireless. And now we can pick up our armor locker, and we can set it somewhere else where it's not right in the middle of the doorway. So for now, let's just set it here. Yeah, we'll just set it right there. It's not necessarily going to stay there, but that's where we'll set it, okay? So now you can also, we talked about salvaging. So this works the same way as it works with the survival tool. It's just much faster. You have a repair option. So you can actually repair damaged blocks with the repair option. And I think, didn't we damage this block? Yeah, we did. So if you look in the, this will actually work better if I do this one in person, just so you can see it in action. Okay, so notice that when I point my multi-tool at this block here, if you look in the lower right-hand corner where it says repair, it says hit points 772 of 800. And that's because I nicked it earlier when I was demonstrating something else. So it needs to be repaired. So to repair it, I just right-click, make sure that I'm on repair, and then left-click, and the little green beam pops out and repairs it back to whole. So you can repair things with the multi-tool. You cannot repair things with the survival tool. Okay, so that's repair. Change and rotate. Let's say that I already set a block down and I didn't have it rotated correctly. So what I do is I put the box around the block in question, and then I can rotate it without actually having to pick it back up. Very useful in many situations. Okay, and you know that also works for these blocks too. It works for pretty much anything as long as that anything is a single block. That's the important thing to keep in mind, is it has to be a single block. So because I set this down really on its side and not on its bottom, I was able to correct that using change and rotate. And I didn't even have to pick the block up, so that's pretty cool. Okay, downgrade and upgrade. Let's talk about upgrade first because it's a little easier to understand. I can upgrade these blocks from normal concrete blocks to armored concrete blocks. In order to do that, though, I have to have the right resources in my inventory. So I'm going to select upgrade, and if you look in the lower right-hand corner, it's telling me in order to do this, I need 2 cements and 2 steel plates in my inventory before I can upgrade this block. Downgrading is just the opposite. Let's say I have an armored concrete block and I want to downgrade it to normal concrete. Why in the hell I would do that in an actual real world practical sense, I'm not sure. I would do it to get 2 cement and 2 steel plates back, but I've never done it before, you know, but it is possible. So you could downgrade something, and the reason you would downgrade something is if you wanted to get the actual resources that were required to upgrade it. But here again, if you think about that in the practical sense, it's just not really something, you know, that most people are going to do, and I've never actually used it, but that's what it does. Okay, and then salvages stuff and retrieves whole blocks. So these two will both destroy a block. The difference is this breaks it down to its components. This will retrieve it whole if you own the structure. If the structure belongs to you, it's your core. Okay, so now that we've gone through the multi-tool basics, let's see the difference between this and the survival tool. So this is just the T1 multi-tool. We want to retrieve this block. Remember, it took 29 hits from the survival tool to pick this block up. How many hits does it take with the T1? 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 4 hits. That is like miles better. But hey, wait, it gets even better. T2 multi-tool. It works exactly the same way. It's just even better. Check out how many hits it takes to pick up this block. 1. See? So the tier 2 multi-tool is just, you know, it's almost infinitely better than the shitty survival tool. But hey, you know, you got to start with something, right? You'll generally get a tier 2 multi-tool when you get, you know, when you start raiding POIs, or if you can make about, I don't know, 4,000 cash or so, credits here. If you know, it depends, but it's going to cost around 3,500 to 4,000 credits. You can actually buy one from the trader on the space station, and I would recommend that you do that as soon as you can, because this thing is just so much better even than the tier 1. I mean, the tier 1's not bad, but the tier 2 is just amazing. I can pick up all these blocks with 1 click. Okay. All right, so we were going to fix the corners too, so let's pull these corners up as well. And then I'm going to show you another really cool trick that's going to save you a lot of time when you're building. Okay. And I'm actually going to pull these back up too to demonstrate the next thing. Okay, so we picked all that stuff up. Now, if you have to build a structure that's going to be identical on both sides, or in this case, on all sides, you have a really nifty tool called the symmetry plane that will allow me to lay the blocks down on this side and have the game automatically mirror that on the other side. So instead of having to do it twice, I only have to do it once. Very, very cool. So let's take a look at how that works. We actually did take a very brief look at this earlier, and you access this tool by pressing the N key, N as in Nancy. Remember we looked at the structural integrity earlier? And we can tell too, by the way, what our structural integrity happens to be. Notice that this column is a little bit darker, and that's because it's not actually supported from the ground here. That's not really a problem. That's not like dangerously weak. It's just weaker because it doesn't have a supporting block. And likewise, same thing for the blocks above the doorway. There's air here. There's nothing supporting that down below, so it's a little weaker than the other blocks, but it's not a problem though. It only becomes a problem when you start getting into, you know, the orange and red blocks. Then that's when you got to be careful. Okay, anyway, so that's the structural integrity. What we want to look at, though, is we want to look at the symmetry plane. So this thing is your best friend, and one of the things that makes Empyrion a really, really good building game. It's got some of the best building tools out there of you know, almost all the games, really. Maybe not in every single case, but it's very useful. Okay, so here's how this works. I'm going to go ahead and click this symmetry plane here. And then I have to choose what plane I want to use. So you have your XY plane, you have your XZ plane, or your YZ plane. For what we want is we want the YZ plane. Okay? So Y is your vertical plane and Z is your east. Well, it's not technically east and west. It just depends upon the direction of the building itself. You could maybe think of it as the front to back plane, okay? So what you do then is you choose your plane and then you click where on the structure you want that plane to actually occur. In most cases, you want it right in the center. The only time you wouldn't put it in the center is if you actually intend to offset something from one side to the other. I'm sure there's applications of that. I don't have an example for you right now because I don't think I've ever used it, but you know, there are situations where it could be useful. I just can't give you an example of it right here and now. But you know, that's pretty advanced stuff too. So in most cases, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure your symmetry plane is right in the center of the structure that you're working on. If we did XY, or I'm sorry, XZ, you know, then it does a flat one. So if you were building something down below and you wanted to mirror that up above, then you would use this. And I have used this a couple of times building capital vessels up in space. And then, of course, XY is basically from side to side and vertical. And we could use either the XY or the YZ plane. Either one would work, but in this case, we're going to go ahead and use YZ. Okay, so that puts that plane there. Once I set my symmetry plane, I just press the N key to remove that menu and it stays in place. Okay, I know this is in the center of the building because it's going right through the center of my doorways. But you know, it's a good idea to double check that. If you're going to be laying a lot of blocks down, make sure the symmetry plane is actually set correctly before you start, you know, laying 500 blocks down. Or you might be sorry. So the way that I would check that is, I would just take a couple of blocks, and I'm just going to put one here, and I'm going to make sure that it mirrors on the other side like I'm expecting it to do. And if it mirrors correctly, then it should be good to go. Okay, so let's pick those back up. So now what I want to do is I want to build my corner up here, and in doing so, because I have the symmetry plane down, it's going to automatically mirror this on the other side. So we're going to get our edge round block. We want to try and keep the bottom of the block where the grid is on the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over and then flip it over this way. Oh, you know, this one we have to actually put on its side. That's the only way you can do it. Okay. So we got that in the right direction. Now we're going to just click and hold the mouse button and drag this up to here. And check it out. It also did the other corner for us at the same time. Pretty slick, eh? Really, really cool feature of this game. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to flip it around this way. And I could either do it on this corner or I could do it on this corner. It really doesn't matter. It's just going to mirror the opposite side of wherever I happen to be working. Okay, and then we're going to put that up like that. And then oh, we ran out of blocks. It did the bottom one, but if you look at my toolbar, you can see that we're actually out of blocks. That's why I didn't finish it. Okay, so let's go. Where are we going? We're going out here. And we're going to, are we still connected? Yeah, we are. Grab our remaining blocks. So we have 121 more. These are still in the queue because we ran out of stone. So we can just, oh wait, no, those are actually there. Okay, good. Those are actually there. All right, so let's go back here. And we need to actually finish this. Oh, wait. We don't want to lose, get out of the wireless area. Okay. Where's my body at? I need to get my body in the wireless area, not my drone. Okay. We'll switch back to this guy. Make sure it is going the right direction, and then we'll go up and finish it out. Now, one thing to be aware of with the symmetry plane is that you can place blocks with it, but you cannot remove blocks with it. If you end up removing the blocks that you place down, you can only do that on one side at a time, which kind of sucks if you make a big mistake. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, now let's go ahead and do our roofs. So since we elected to go with the rounded corners instead of the angled corner, we're going to use the round corner A cap. Okay? And this is the one we want to make sure is actually resting on its bottom. And we can tell that by, again, looking at the little grid there. So we put a cap here. And we put a cap here. And it automatically happens on the other side too. And then the last part for the edge of the roof is to go back into our menu and just grab the edge round block. Flip it around this way. And there. So see, it did it on that side, and then flip it around this way, and just go right to the middle, and it fills in that side as well. And then, of course, we repeat the same thing on this side. There we go. Last but not least is the roof itself. So, once again, you do have the option, if you want to do it, of using the walls. And that'll make your ceiling a little higher and just make the building feel a little more spacious. Just remember, though, if you do that, that you can't attach anything directly to the ceiling. And that could, come into play with like if you want to place a light. But you can do that. You just have to replace that one particular plate with a full block. Okay? And there's even a couple of options in here. Where are those? Here. So you could use like this, it says cylinder wall, but I think that means cylinder wall. Cylinder. So what you could do is we could actually use this in the center for our light. Let's actually try that. That might actually look good now that I think about it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn this so that it's horizontal and making sure that it's facing down. We don't want it to face up because if it faces up, first of all, it's not going to line up correctly. And secondly, we won't be able to put anything on the roof. Guess what we're going to put on the roof later on? Turrets for defense, okay? You don't have to put them on the roof, but we're going to for this particular base. Okay, so remember our little trick earlier with the plane. I'm going to position the block. I'm going to hold down the control key. I'm going to hold down the mouse key. And then I'm going to drag this plane out all the way to this side and into the center and release the mouse button. And voila, there's our roof. All in one maneuver. Pretty damn cool, huh? So, let's turn off the symmetry plane. We do that by pressing N as in Nancy and just simply clicking none, and that removes it. Clicking this won't remove it. Wait, I guess it does. Never mind. It used to not, but so you can either click that or you can click that. Either way. Okay. Now, let's try this cool little block out for our ceiling light. We're going to put a light right in the middle of our base. So we're going to come right down to the center and we're going to just pull this block back out. Okay. And then we're going to go into our block menu and we're going to, I think this one's going to look the best. So we're going to grab this guy and we're going to bring it up here so we can kind of look at it, and we're going to flip it up so that it's that direction, right? And then what we'll do is we're just going to pop it right in place there. Boom. Like that. And let's go take a look at it. There we go. And then what we'll do later is we'll make a light, and we're going to just plop it right down there, and that will be our light inside of our base. But the rest of the ceiling is a little higher up, so we just have, just a little more spacious feel to the place. All right, cool. So guys, we have pretty much built at least the main structure of our base. Now, what time is it? We are frickin' way beyond time. This is going to have to be another 2-part episode. There's just no two ways about it. Okay, so I do want to put some stairs on this opening. I'm not going to put stairs on the back opening because we're going to make a humongous landing pad out the back here that's going to connect to here and then go quite a ways out, both lengthwise and wider. So we don't really need stairs here. We could temporarily, though, I'll tell you what we will do. Let's just temporarily put a ramp here. So we're going to choose this ramp A block, and we're going to make sure that it's on the vertical axis and tilt it the right way. And we're going to pop it in place, and then we're going to do the ramp tip. No, sorry, this one. No, this one here, sorry. So that's what this looks like, and we're going to just pop that down kind of in front of there. So this is temporary, though. We will replace this later on with the actual pad that we're going to build. But in front, what we actually want to make an actual stairs, some stairs there. So the thing is, though, is I probably don't have enough stone to do that now, do I? Let's go to blocks. Yeah, we need a little more stone, so let's go just grab some stone real quick. Getting caught on something there. Go to our survival tool. And we want resource drill. Whoop. Let's see if we can put some of this in. Oh, I guess I have a little silicon left over in there. Well, we can put a little bit of that in there. That'll have to be enough. That'll have to be good enough. It should be enough. I do have some stone in here, but I kind of want to hang on to that for other things that might need it. So, okay, so we've got stone in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to blocks. We're going to make sure we're on either base or everything. We're going to go to blocks, building blocks, and we can make some concrete stairs. So we're going to actually, I think, need 2 of these. So let's queue up 2 of those and let those do their thing. Okay, so we're going to... We have a little bit of a gap here, as you can see. So what I think I'm going to maybe try and do about that, it's very, very close to the ground, so I don't know if the game's going to let me put another layer of blocks in there or not. But let's just try it and see what it does. So I'm going to hop up here, pop my drone out. Switch to our... Oh, we got to reconnect to our network here. Put those there. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to see if it'll let me get a block in underneath here. It might not. And I want to try and do it without, without having to dig a hole in the ground. Ah, you know what? I got an idea. We're going to do this. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, now, the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to need a block right here for the stairs. Whoop, get back down. Otherwise, there's going to be a gap underneath the stairs as well. And let's not put a block there quite yet. Okay, so, yeah, I need to get out of my drone here. Let's grab the 2 stairs, which are right here. They're too heavy for me. Okay. Now, for the stairs, you have a couple of options. You have the longer 22-degree type of stair, or you have the 45-degree stair. And you also have, notice you also have some spiral options too. I think for our use, we're just going to go with the 45-degree stair. So we're going to put that there, but it still has this little lip there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this one in and let it bury into the ground so we have a nice little full staircase up into our base. The last thing we're going to do tonight for this episode is we're going to put a sidewalk around the base and we're going to get rid of some of this grass. So the way you can do that is... Let's get our drone out again. Oh, here, let me show you something about the drone too. When you launch your drone, you launch it off of your back, okay? So if you're in a really tight spot, you might not be able to launch it. So if I stand in the doorway here and then try and launch the drone, watch what happens. It says there's another object in the spawn area. There's not enough room, in other words, for my drone to launch. So what I have to do is I have to make sure that whatever's behind me is clear, both directly behind me and a little bit above me as well. And then I can launch the drone. So that's important to keep in mind. Here's another thing to be careful of too. You can actually push your body with your drone. See, look at that. I'm pushing myself with my drone. Where you could get yourself into trouble with that is if you remember how earlier we were standing on top of our hover vessel as we were mining because we wanted to try and be safe. Well, if you do that, that's fine, but don't accidentally then knock yourself off the hover vessel. Okay? So just a couple of little tidbits there for you guys as these little things come to me. All very useful, though. Well, at least I hope it's useful to you. Okay, so let's pop our drone out. Now, I want to get rid of this grass that's kind of glitching into the blocks and really just kind of get rid of the grass all the way around the perimeter of the base here. We could use the tent, but the problem with the tent is that sometimes it'll create these little divots in the ground, as, case in point. Now, probably the reason it happened here is because this isn't level ground, but then everything around our house is not perfectly level either. So a better way to do this is to use your, use your survival tool now, or later on if you have an actual drill, you could use a drill. But you got to be really, really careful, because if you overdo it, then you're going to actually dig a hole that you don't want to dig. Especially be careful with the survival tool, because you won't have any way to fill that hole if you accidentally make it. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I'm on resource drill. I'm going to point at the ground, and I'm going to very quickly tap my mouse button. Just boop, like that. Really quick. Boop, like that. And notice that it's removing the grass. You know what? Let's make it morning, even though it's going to be morning in 50 seconds. So we can just see a little bit better. Okay, yeah, this is going to be better. So just very, very quick tap. And notice that it removes a big area of the grass, including the grass that's been glitching through your block. So you can go around the base and just do really quick tap and basically cut all the grass around your base and make it look nice and neat. See how that grass is glitching through the block? Not anymore. Okay, and then you just need to decide how far out you actually want to go with it. But we basically just mowed the lawn around the perimeter of our base, so it looks much better now. Okay, guys, I think that's all we're going to do for now. We are out of time. This is definitely going to be another 2-part episode. So in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to work on equipping our base. So getting all the equipment set up, getting the power set up, getting our small constructor set up, which we can then use to make a large constructor. And depending upon, how much time that takes us, if we have more time after that, we'll probably start working on our side wing here that we're going to eventually turn into a farm for ourselves. And then the other big construction project for this base is going to be, building our landing pad out back. But that's not super important right now. It's more important right now for us to get our farm going so that we can start, basically having, self-sustaining ourselves with our food and that sort of thing. I mean, we're doing okay with the protein bars, but we don't want to eat Cliff Bars forever. And dudes, there's cheeseburgers in this game, okay? We want to get into the cheeseburgers. Okay, so, yeah, that's pretty much where we are. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share out the video, and we'll see you in the next episode. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. Bye.